Hello everyone, welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial, we'll be looking at how to move files and folders within the command line. Also, we'll be looking at how to delete files and folders, as well as to look at how to create a GitHub account and to push our files into our remote repositories in GitHub. So let's get started. First of all, you have to launch your Git Bash, as I have launched too. And first of all, you have to check your working directory too as well. So pwd. Now you can see that I am in this full path, that is C drive users Bashiru to repo. So if you launch your Git Bash, you can also decide to create a repository like repo by typing in this command mkdir and then write repo, and you press enter to create it. I've already created it, so I don't want to repeat it again. And after that, you navigate to that folder, which is cd, and then you write the name of the folder, which is repo slash, and you navigate there. So from there, then you can go, you can follow my part two as well, that is the repo. Okay, so in order to make things more practical, let's open our file explorer in order to see things, what is happening within the command line. So let's open our file explorer, and you can see that our fourth part is this. So I'm going to go to C drive users Bashiru to the repo. So I'm going to come here. So let's go to our C drive. So from the C drive, let's go to users. From users, let's go to Bashiru, and from Bashiru, this is open. Now in here, let's look at repo. So you can see there's repo is here, so let's double click on it. So we are in here. So this is repo. Now let's split our screen in order to make things simple. So Windows key and then right arrow key, so you split it. So you combine Windows key and right arrow key, and this one too, you can split it by pressing Windows key and left arrow key, so it will be split like this. Now that our folders, our path are indicated like this, I'm going to create another folder inside our repo. So we are inside our repo, so make dir. So I'm going to say repo1, so repo1, and press enter. So you can see that as I press enter, repo1 is created. So you can see the folder, a new folder has been created here. So I want to create another folder again so that we can look at how to manipulate it. So another one, so this one I'm going to name it as repo2. So repo2, you can see that it is also created here. So first of all, let's look at how to copy folders, how to move, copy folders, or rename folders. So for instance, let me say that I want to move repo2 into repo1. And remember, our root folder is repo. So you navigate to your repo. Now we are in the repo. So in order to move repo2 to repo1, let's implement this command. So on the command line, let's move it, that is mv. So in order to move a repository, in order to move a directory or a folder, we execute mv. Now mv, what are we moving? We are moving repo2. So repo2 to where? To our repo1. So you say repo1. So we are moving it inside. So we press enter. Now when you press enter, you realize that our repo2 has jumped inside our repo1. So if you double click on repo1, you see repo2 inside repo1. So you come back, you see repo1, double click, repo2 is inside repo1. So it has been moved. So you can see that it has been moved inside repo1. Now let's try and bring it back to the root folder, which is repo. So in order to bring it back there, let's be careful here. In order to bring it back to the root folder, so we simply type in, we simply go back to navigate to where the folder is, which is in repo1. So cd repo1, right, slash. So we are inside our repo1, and if you do ls, you see that our repo2 is inside repo1. So you type in mv, and you type in the name of the repo that you want to move, that is repo2. And where are you moving it to? You are moving it to the root folder. So in order to move backward to the root folder, remember repo1 is inside the root folder. So in order to move it, you put // which means that you are moving back to the root folder. So if you press enter, you can see that repo2 is no more inside repo1. So move back to the root folder. So you can see this is repo. When you move back there, you can see that repo2 has come back to the root folder. Now let's look at how to move our folder. Let's say we are moving our folder to our repo2 to repo1, but we want to rename it. Now let's look at how to rename it. Now in order to rename it, we type in, we are going to move it and rename it. So mv, what's the name of the repo, the folder, which is repo2, and where are we moving it to? We are moving it to repo1, right? Repo1. We are moving it to repo1, and we give it a name, slash, and give it a name. What name should we give it? We can give it as repo3 and press enter. Okay, there's some problem here. Okay, there's that no file or directory. So sorry, we have to first of all navigate to our root folder. Currently we are on repo1, so because of that, it's not able to recognize the current the directory. So let's go back there, cd ... So we are in the repo directory. So let's execute the command again. So in here you can see that when you press enter, you realize that our repo2 has moved into repo1 but has been renamed to repo3. So let's first of all click inside repo1 and see something. So you can see it is no more repo2, it is now named as repo3. So you can see that it has been moved. Now let's try and do this again. Now we are inside our repo, right? Now let's try and now that we have finished moving from moving folders from one folder to another, let's now look at how to copy the folders. Now let's say we want to duplicate this folder. Let's come back to our root folder, which is, so this is repo1. Now let's try to duplicate this by copying it again. So our root folder, which is repo, inside there we can copy the repo1 and repeat it again. So in order to copy a repository, in order to copy a folder, what we have to do here is to say cp, that is cp, and cp is copy, and you give the name of the folder, which is repo1. Now repo1 is the name of the folder we are going to copy, and then what name are we going to give it again? So let's say we are going to give it, you put slash, what name are we going to give? We are going to give a name like let's say we are going to duplicate it. So let's duplicate it. Let's just press enter. Now the first thing we are finding here, the first error we are facing here is cp missing destination file operand after repo1. Okay, let's clear our screen and then check something here. Okay, so we are trying to duplicate this one within the so what we have to first of all do here is, let's do cp, now cp, and then we say repo1, cp repo1, and they are saying that there's a missing destination. So let's say we are going to copy it, that is the repo1, which is inside our root repository. We are going to copy it inside the same folder. So let's say cp repo1, and then we will specify the location. The location is going to be in repo. So you can see now this is also another error that is showing us what to do. Now they are saying that cp, that is the copy, a /r not specified, omitting directory. So in order to make this work, we have to add a /r, sorry, a -r. So cp -r, and then the name of the repository, the name of the folder that we are copying is repo1. And where are we copying it to? Repo to repo. So when we press enter, check, you can see that it has been copied and then renamed as repo. Sorry, there was a mistake that I did here. We are rather giving it a new name, but inside what is inside the repo1, we'll be duplicating it here again. So if we say repo1, we are copying it. So what is going to be inside the repo, which is the renaming of the repo1, then what it will be inside it? Check, you see that repo3 is also inside it, and come back here, repo1, there's repo3 inside. So we have renamed it inside our repo folder, and then giving it a new name as repo. So let's do a recap because there was some little bit confusion there. Now let's say we are going to copy this and give it another name. So what we have to first do is cp, let's come here, we'll do cp. Now cp, what's the name of we put -r because we are copying a directory. So repo1, and what is the new name we want to give it? We can say new repo. So if we say new repo and press enter, you see that it has been copied and renamed. You can see that it has been copied and renamed. Now the new repo, if you double click it, you see that repo is inside it, which is also the same thing inside repo1. Now with the folders and directories, let's learn how to delete it. Now in order to remove a directory, the first thing you have to do is to first of all type in this, that is rm. So you type in rm. What is because we are mostly dealing with directories, you can add a -r or you can leave it like that, but let's try rm and repo. We are deleting this folder, which is repo. So rm repo, you see they are saying that rm repo that cannot remove. Repo is a directory. So like I told you, you have to prefix it. We have to prefix the name of the directory with -r, but sometimes too you can do it direct, for instance using either -rf or just -r or just leaving it. But in this my case, it is not working, so let's repeat same thing but rather add -r to it. So rm -r repo. Remember, we are deleting this this directory. So repo, when you press enter, you see that it is gone. Now let's try remove. Let's also say we are going to remove the new repo. So you say rm -r new repo. So when you press enter, you can see that it is gone in that order. Now let's now talk about moving files into folders and also deleting them or renaming them. So with the files, let's quickly clear our command line. Now you can see that there's nothing inside this repo one. It is also another folder that is inside it. So let's I want to create a file here right in our root directory, which is repo. So let's navigate back. You can see that in the command line here our root directory is repo. So let's come back to repo. Now we are in repo. Now in order to create a file, this is a simple command you have to use. You just say touch, you just type in touch. Now touch, what is the name of the file you are going to create? So let's say the file is going to be file.txt. So when you press enter, you can see that a file has been created here. And in order to open this file, because I'm on Windows, those on Mac and then on the Linux, you can use something like Open Direct and then open it. But I'm on Windows, so I use Explorer, and then the name of the file, which is file.txt. So the file will be open. So my file is being opened on this notepad. So I just want to type in something. This is a file. This is a file. So this is a file, and then let's save it. So you can see that inside this file you have this is a file inside it. Okay, so let's now try to look at how we can move this file from the root directory, that is repo, into repo 1. So let's look at how we can move this. So it's the same thing we did the last time. So in order to move the file, you type mv. It's also move. So mv, what is the name of the file? Is file.txt. Where are we moving it to? Remember, we are moving it to repo 1. So repo 1 slash is a folder, so repo 1 slash. Now press enter. You can see that the file has jumped inside it. So when you double tap on this, you can see that our file has been moved here. So you come back to the root folder, which is repo. There is no file there. Now let's bring the file back. So in order to bring this file back to our root folder, in order to bring this file back to our repo, the file is inside here. So let's navigate to our repo 1 so that we can fetch the file back again. So repo 1 cd repo 1. So we are inside repo 1. Now I want us to move the file back to our root folder. So I can say mv file.txt, and where are we moving it to? Down to our root folder. So /. So it has come back to our root folder, as you can see it here. Now I want us to move it inside the repo again. Now this is moving files and moving files. So I want us to move it back inside the repo 1 and rename it. Instead of leaving it as file.txt, we can name it as new file.txt. So let's try to see how we can move and rename it. So for instance, let's say we are moving it back to the repo 1. So still we are going to execute the same command, mv. Now what is the name of the file? That is file dot sorry, let us correct something here. We are inside the repo 1, which is not where the file is found. So let's come back again, cd dot to come back to our repo, our root folder. Now moving it there, we will say mv. What's the name of the file? File.txt. Now file.txt, where are we moving it to? We are moving it to repo 1, right? / because it's a folder. Now what name do we want to give it? We want to give it as what? New file. So new file dot txt. So enter. So you can see that the file has moved. The file has moved into the repo1. So let's check inside it. You can see that it is no more file, but it is new file because it has been renamed. So this is how we move files from one folder to another. Since you know how to navigate from one folder to another, from one directory to another, and you now know how to move files from one folder to another and to send them backward and forward, let's now look at how we can delete the files. Now, deleting the file is also very simple, and here you have to be a little bit careful, especially folders and deleting folders and files, because once you delete, it doesn't give you any warning and nothing will be kept inside your recycling bin. So once you delete it on the command line, you delete it forever. So be careful you don't make a mistake and delete everything on your PC, because if you do that, you will find it very difficult to retrieve it, and you cannot get it unless maybe you have something like a backup. So you have to be a little bit careful here. So in order to delete this, that is why we decided to, you see that's why we are just dealing with only empty files and folders. Okay, so in order to delete this file, remember our file is inside our repo1. So let's bring it back to the repo, that is our root directory. So we navigate to our repo1 cd, and before you can move something from one place to another, you have to be inside where it is. So you can't be in repo folder and move file from repo1 to back to repo. You have to be in the current directory in order to manipulate the files or the folders within it. So cd, in order to bring the file back to our root folder, we say cd. Sorry, we are going to move it back, so we have to navigate to our repo1. So cd repo1 slash. So we come back to our repo1. Now we are going to move it to our root folder. So mv, what's the name of the file? New file.txt, and we are moving it to where? To our root folder, which is dot slash. So we are moving it backward. So press enter. So you can see that the file has disappeared from the repo1. When you come back to our root folder, you can see it here. So what we are going to do here is to delete it. So in order to delete it, you press rm, that is remove rm. I told you this is permanent, it's not going to warn you. So the command line deletion on the command line is very powerful. So rm. Now when you press rm, then you input the name of the file, which is new file.txt, and you press enter. There's a problem here because we didn't navigate back to where the file is found. Remember, the file is inside repo now, so navigate to there. So cd cd, and you come back. So cd dot, you come back to our repo. Now let's clear it so that to see things. So from here, let's delete it. So rm. So when you press rm, you press the name of the you type in the name of the file, which is new file.txt. So when you press, you can see that it has deleted permanently. It won't come back again, and you won't find it. So you have to be a little bit careful when you are deleting files. So in order to delete a file, rm and the name of the file, and it goes forever. So simply, this is how to move files and folders within the terminal. So I open this file explorer so that you see what is actually happening. So this is how to work with the command when dealing with folders and files, how to delete them, how to move them. Now the next part is I'm going to show you how to also create a GitHub account. So in order to create a GitHub account, you simply go to their website. So let's open our browser. So from our browser, let's type in GitHub. So GitHub. So you type in GitHub. So GitHub. Now when you type in GitHub, you come to sign up free. So when you click on it, I already have an account, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to create it and you complete it on your own. So let me come back and check something here. Okay, so let's check this link, sign up. Okay, so this interface is very good. Okay, so on this interface you type in your username, and before you complete this, I want to show you something. Remember when you were configuring your git bash, that is the user, when you were configuring, you entered your username and then your email. So as a best practice, I want you to use the same username and then email address to create your GitHub account. You can decide to use any other credential you want, but just for things to be more simple, just use the same configuration credentials to create your GitHub account. So you can check the username that you use, and then the email by typing in something like this on your command line, like git config list. So dash list, dash list. So git config dash list. So you can see that your configuration settings are here. So you can see for me, the username that I use is Bashiru98 and the email is this one. So you can see your username and your email here. So you can use the same thing and then create your GitHub account. So you quickly come here, put in your username, your email address, and your password. Make sure that you don't forget your password, and after that you leave this one unchecked, and then you come down and press on create. So for instance, if I can decide to say something like Bashiru, and I'll put an email address, this one, and I'll put another one here. Because mine already exists, you can see that they are giving me warning. So after that you click on create. So after you click on create, you create a GitHub account. Now because I already have a GitHub account, I will go on to log in. So after you finish creating your GitHub account, you can log inside. Now logging in is simple, so let's go to login. Now let me type in my email address. And login. Make sure that you are seeing that. Make sure it is at least within I'm logging in, so I don't know. Okay, so I'm logged in. You can see that this is my um my my profile. So when you log in, it's just like this. So in order to check your profile, you just come on top here and click on this. You can see your profile. So you click on this. So when you click on this, you see your profile. So you can see my profile is here. This is my profile. Now you will not see anything much there because you have not done you've not uh, posted, or you've not uploaded codes or your files here. So you don't worry, let's just look at what is important here. So now before we start to create a repository, and repositories are simply the files that you want to put them inside a folder, or you just putting your file inside a folder and then putting it into the GitHub account. So you create a repository and put the files inside it, and you can go online and view those files anytime you need it. Now you might be asking, why is this thing important? This is simply because you might lose you might lose your files on your desktop or on your computer. Let's say your hard drive get, or your hard disk get corrupt. So you can imagine the kind of things you lose. So sometimes when you are programming, or you are working on a project, putting your files on your GitHub account is a little bit safe, because whenever you lose your files, that is if you are working on a project like, let's say a coding or a web development project, you can upload your files here so that you can easily access them on the net, and equally you can download them and then use them back on your PC. So what we are going to do here is to go back to the command line. So let's go back to the command line. So let's clear our screen. Now in the command line, what we are going to do here is let's go back to our root folder. Let's go back to our root folder, but I think we can still use the repo folder to work. Remember, in the repo folder, let's say we list something here. Let's check what is inside it, LA. So you can see that there is repo1. Now I want to go and I want to go ahead and create some few files inside here. So let's create some tray files here. So we type in touch, and the file name should be let's say another file. Let me just say file. Let me use the same thing, file.txt. So we have created a file this way, ls-la. So you can see there's a file called file.txt. Now let me create another one inside it. So that one I can say touch file2. Let me just say file2.txt. So, and let me do another one, file3.txt. file3.txt. Now let's clear and check. Now ls la. So you can see we have 3 files in it. So 3 files and 1 folder, which is repo1. So now we are going to do something now, how to push our code into our GitHub account. Now before you learn how to push your files or your code into your GitHub account, you will first of all need to know some simple basics about Git. So the first thing we need to know is to learn how to init a folder or files. So init simply means that you are trying to fetch the files that you want to push into the GitHub account. So first of all, let's check something. Now we are inside the repo folder. So let's say git init. So when you type in git init and press enter, you see that initialize empty git repository in this part. So now remember, there is nothing like git here. But let's check something. In order to check what has happened after you type in the git init, let's say you type in git status in order to see what has actually happened. So git status. So now when you press git status, you realize that this once which were file.txt, file2, file3. So you see that those ones were white, but you can see that they are red here. Now what it's telling us, you can see on top here, on track files, which means that it has fetched those files, though they are on track, but it has fetched them waiting for the next action. So if you want to do something, let's say you want to now make sure that you prepare these files ready to export them or to put them onto your GitHub account, what you have to first do is to add those files into your Git. So now in order to do that, we first of all say git add. Now you can specify to add, let's say, file.txt, file2.txt, file3.txt, but if you want to add all these files, you can simply type in git add dot, and that will simply add all the files within that folder, that is within repo, into your staging field. So you have a staging field where you can commit those files onto your GitHub account. So let's say git add or git add dot, which will add all the files. So when you press enter and type again git status, now you can see that the color has changed, and this is the staging area. Now it changes to be committed. Now when you add the files to the staging area, you realize that they change color, which means that they are ready to be committed. And committing simply means that you are trying to perform an action prior to adding the folders or the files to your GitHub account. So you perform a commit. So let's clear our screen and type in git status again. So you can see that this is the files that are ready. So these are all the files because we added everything by typing in git add dot, which will add everything. So now let's say that we now want to commit. So you say git commit. Now you add dash. It's not underscore, it's dash m. You are committing. So in a quotation mark, you add in what you are committing. Let's say this is your first repository that you are trying to create. So you are going to commit these files into that repository. So let's say first repo, that's your first repository. So you close it back and press enter. When you press enter, it fetches the files ready to be pushed. So now if you say git status, you can see that nothing to commit. Why? Because those files have been committed. They are ready to be pushed now. So if you want to know whether yes they have been committed or not, you simply type in git log. So git log, you can see that the name that you give, now remember when we were committing, we said first repo, and this commit the name helps you to know what action you have performed. Now you are adding files. What files are you adding? You are adding first repo, or you can decide to give the name of the files. Let's say the name of these files, you can decide to give it a common name in order to identify it whenever you are trying to check the type of commits that you've made. So you can see that the first repo has been shown here, telling us that is a commit that we've made, and you see that you can see a hashed ID, and this hash ID is just the ID of the commit. You see, so the commits that we have made, every commit that you make has a specific ID. So this is identifying the commit that we've made. Now let's check how to send this into our repository. So we say clear. Now git, remember we have committed it, so we have to now add. In order to add this, we need to know the address of the repository that we want to push these files to. So back to our Git repository, back to our GitHub account, we can create a new repository. So in here, you go on top here and press in your repository. So choose your repositories. When you come here, now you can see new here. So in order to create a new repository, you come here, new, and press on it. Now here, can't you see create a new repository? So you come down here and then you type in the name of the repository you want to create. So this is our first repository we are creating. So let's say our first repo. So you say just give it a short name, our first repo. You see, so our first repo, you can see that it has marked. So our first repo, and you come down. Now they will ask you to choose whether you want your files to be public or private. Do you want people to see that? You see, when it is on public, anyone can see this repository. So you choose who can commit. Now private, you choose who can see and commit to this repository. So if you want it to be private, you choose private. If you want it to be public, for now we want it to be public, so let's leave it as default. Now we come down here and leave this once. We'll look at this later on when we start working with advanced commit. So let's leave this one for now. So let's click on create repository. So let's click on create repository. So this is what is going to open. Now here, what we are going to do here is to check something here. Now this is the process that we started. You can see git init, git add. This is just a sample they are giving. Git commit. These are the steps that we did all. Now we need to add a remote origin to it. So in here, you come down to the second one. So we are going to push. Now you copy this URL. I mean, you copied the whole of this. This is going to give us the full path to the repository that we have created. So copy this one. So you copy the whole of this. So when you copy it, you come back to your command line and then you paste. So you right click and paste it. When you paste, you press enter. Now you can see it has been taken. Now the next command in order to push your files is to type in git push upstream, that is dash upstream, that is u origin master. Now when we start to talk about branches, you realize that the branch that we are working on currently is the master branch. We have not changed any branch. So git push dash u origin master. So we type in here git push dash u, and then we type in our origin master and press enter. Now when you press enter, it will push the files into our repository. So you can see that it is creating, it is fetching the files, and then it is done. Now in order to know whether it has successfully pushed the files or not, just type in git status. So you can see that nothing to commit. There's nothing to actually commit. So it has been pushed into our GitHub account. Now let's come back to our GitHub account and refresh it. So when you refresh, check something. Now refreshing it, you realize that the code, the files, we can see them here. File.txt, you can see it here, is empty. When you come here too, so these are the files. Now when you go to profile, you come to here and check profile or your repositories. So you come to your repositories, you can see the name that we give, that is our first repo is here, and you can see this is the files that we we pushed into the our account. So this is simple. This is the easiest way to push your files or your code onto your GitHub account in order to make sure that you don't lose them whenever you have problem with your PC. So a lot of people do download the GitHub on the GitHub desktop on their PC so that they can upload direct. But as a programmer or for best practices, it's good you'll be able to use, or it's good you learn how to work on the command line. It's good you know how to manipulate your files and your code and to push them onto your GitHub account. Because imagine you are in a company where you work remotely. It's good you know how to work with Git in order to exchange code. You edit, you make changes, and then you push them into your GitHub account for them to also view and then make changes, and you work together or collaborate together. So this is the simple way that you can follow to push your code or your files onto GitHub. So I think this tutorial is a little bit long, and I want to end it here. So try and go through all these things, and then you'll be comfortable with the command line. So thank you for watching this tutorial, and see you next time. Bye.